welcome to Ion Radio. I'm Ken. Today I'm going to be bringing you a Learn to Play video. It'll be in the narrative style for Battlestar Galactica Starship battles. So today's scenario is going to basically include the basic rules for the game, a couple of the advanced rules. We're going to do it in the style of a fresh Nugget Viper pilot being taught by one of our existing aces, and we're going to see how well that goes. So enjoy our role explanation. Be right back.
All right, Nugget, pay attention. This is the Viper Mark II. Your weapons are currently locked in training mode. Your ship is as maneuverable as a jackrabbit, so today we'll be working on basic flight. Let's fly around the asteroid ahead.
A turn in Battlestar Galactica Starship battles has three components: a planning phase, a maneuver phase, and a firing phase. For the planning phase, you will take an opportunity to select from all of your maneuver cards for your particular ship. In this case, our rookie pilot will be selecting a straight maneuver at high speed. We'll adjust the control panel accordingly, and then this will be flipped upside down and kept secret from the opponent. At the beginning of the movement phase, after all players have completed their secret planning, we'll reveal all of the movement cards for each ship. In this case, again, our forward maneuver, and we'll reveal the control dial. We can show that we are moving at high speed. To execute the maneuver, the yellow mark will reach the little tab at the front of the ship, and then we will execute the maneuver as such, lining up the rear with the guides on the card. The maneuver would have matched what was on the control panel, and that particular movement is complete. Turn 2. We've already completed the planning phase. We're going to move right into movement. Again, revealing our cards and our control panel. We will stay at high speed. All maneuver cards are shown simultaneously. All movement occurs simultaneously. For this particular training exercise, we only have one ship moving. Of special note is that this is a difficult maneuver. We will explain a little bit more on that in the next turn. We're still moving at high speed, and our Viper is going to turn around and end here, starting its completion around the asteroid. Because our previous turn had a difficult maneuver, we placed a token to remind us of that fact. What that reminds us to do is that our next movement can only be an overboost moving straight or a non-difficult maneuver card. For this particular exercise, we have reduced our speed to medium speed, and we've selected a non-difficult maneuver.
Good work, Nugget. Now target my Viper.
Our rookie pilot has decided to hit his turbos and execute an overboost maneuver. An overboost maneuver requires two cards. The first is our overboost card, noted by this symbol. Overboosts can only have a maximum of 4 G value. In this case, 1 and 2 is 3. Our control panel is set to low speed, which will designate the final position on the second card. To execute this particular overboost maneuver, you will place the overboost card and then the corresponding primary maneuver card attached to it, and then move your ship. After all players have completed their movement, all ships can determine if they have any enemy fighters in line of sight and within range of their weapons. Line of sight is determined based on the arc and the front of each one of the spaceships. That arc will range to both sides. This Viper is clearly within line of sight of this Viper. Now we have to determine range. Our range ruler has three distinct different sections. The first is short range, designated by the red portion of the ruler. There's a +1 modifier to any shots within that range. The second range is medium range with no modifier. And the final short part of the ruler is long range, where there is a -1 modifier to your shot. For this particular shot, our rookie Viper pilot is within medium range of our ace. We are now firing. To attack, the firing ship will roll 2 dice and total the results. If that particular total is equal to or greater than the attack value of the attacking ship, they will score a hit. Our rookie Viper has rolled an 8. At medium range, there is no modifier. That would be greater than or equal to the attack value. So we will draw a chip to determine damage. This will come out of usually a cup or side. Ordinarily, damage is hidden, but for the purposes of this example, we are going to show what it would be. In this case, we have 5 damage points. The only symbol we care about in the basic game is the plus, which requires us to draw a second token. And we would score an additional 6 points of damage, ignoring the plus. In this example, we have 11 points of damage, which is smaller than the structural number of 14. This ship is still alive.
Not bad, Nugget. Let's try some advanced maneuvers. Galactica Mergen, we're ready for Cylon drones. We read you, Mergen. Weapons free authorized. Go destroy that Raider debris.
The complete rules will introduce some new concepts. We will explain 2 now: acceleration and kinetic energy. The complete rules have a slight variation to the game turn. There are now 5 steps: a planning step, a movement and fire step, and a second movement and fire step. In the planning step, we are limited to what we are able to do in terms of maneuver cards based on our kinetic energy and our acceleration. Currently, our kinetic energy is at 0. The acceleration of the Viper Mark II is 3. This will prohibit us from doing an overboost maneuver, as our kinetic energy would then increase to 4, 5, or 6. For this turn, we are going to plan a single maneuver card at high speed. This will result in providing 3 kinetic energy after we reveal our maneuver cards. After the planning step is completed, all players will reveal their control panels and their maneuver cards. They will then adjust the kinetic energy according to their control panel and maneuver cards selected. In this case, we will adjust our kinetic energy to 3. We will then execute our maneuvers. This will happen simultaneously amongst all players. There will now be a fire opportunity, a first firing step. However, our Viper is not in range of our drone Raider, therefore we will not be able to fire. As we have no additional movement, there will not be a second movement step or firing step that we can be involved in. Second turn planning phase. We need to close the distance to get in firing range of the Raider. So we are going to plan an overboost maneuver. Again, here's our overboost symbol. Our G values on both cards are 0, and 0 and 0 is less than 4. We have to bear in mind that our current acceleration of 3 and our kinetic energy of 3 and our acceleration of 3, we cannot do anything beyond a 0 or a 6, so we cannot go backwards. In this particular instance, we're going to overboost at medium speed, which would allow us to use our overboost, and then our second maneuver here, giving us a total kinetic energy of 5. The difference between 3 and 5 is 2, and we are within our acceleration value. In the first movement step, we're going to reveal our first card. We've already revealed our control panel. We can see we are moving at medium speed and we have an overboost. We will now adjust our kinetic energy accordingly, which will be 5, because we have an overboost of 3 and medium speed, which will be 2. All players will then execute their first maneuver, and we will leave the maneuver card where it is at. We will then look at our first firing step and realize that we are currently at long range and in line of sight. We know that we will be able to make a better shot if we move closer, so our Viper will neglect to fire and choose not to fire the first firing step. Second movement step. All players that executed an overboost maneuver will now reveal and execute their second maneuver. We've left our original card down, our overboost card, because we're going to have to line up our cards accordingly. We will temporarily remove our fighter and line up our next maneuver. We're again at medium speed, and this is our path. Place the spaceship here and remove our movement cards. We now can go into the second firing step. We still are within arc, and we now have a medium shot to take. Second firing step. Our Viper is going to fire at the target raider. To make combat a little bit more interesting, we will be adding some modifiers which are a part of the complete rule set. The kinetic energy of both the attacking Viper and the defending raider are going to influence what the dice roll outcome is. In addition to that, there could be potential damages, which we will get to later. First, our modifiers in combat. First one is still our range. At medium range, we have no modifier. Our target, the raider, if its kinetic value energy is at 0, which it is, we will add 1 to our roll. If our raider was moving at a kinetic energy value of 4 or more, we would subtract 1 from this roll. The other modifier will be the Viper's attack. The attacker's kinetic energy, if it is at 5 or more, will subtract 1 from the roll. Our current kinetic energy value is 5. When we add our modifiers together, our range, no modifier. The kinetic value of the raider adds 1 to the die roll, and our Viper will subtract 1 because of its kinetic energy. Our sum total is no modifiers. So rolling the dice, we want to get an attack value of 6. When we pull these in, we have 7, so that will score a hit. Pulling our damage from the cup, this would ordinarily be face down, but again, for the purpose of the example, although we hit, we scored no damage on the raider. In addition to the numbers on the damage counters, there are some special damage icons which are also kept secret, but again we're showing you for the purposes of this tutorial. From left to right, you have engine damage, control system damage, a wounded pilot, and hull or wing damage. Engine damage, your acceleration is cut in half. If you take a second engine hit, you will no longer be able to change your kinetic energy value. A control system damage will adjust the total G value of all your planned maneuver cards to 3 instead of 4. A second such control systems damage token will prevent your spaceship from rotating for the rest of the game. If your pilot is wounded, your ship will subtract 1 from all attack rolls for the remainder of the game. You may also no longer plan difficult maneuver cards. If you are wounded a second time, your modifier becomes a -2. Any maneuver cards for your ship must now be planned for the next turn at the beginning of the second movement step. This will occur before any other players are planning their maneuver for that turn. A third wound will kill your pilot, and your ship is eliminated from the game. The final type of special damage, the hull or wing damage, will prevent you from playing overboost cards. A second such damage will reduce your kinetic energy value by 1 at the end of each turn, reducing it until it reaches 0. Your ship is now limited to inertial movement only. Once your ship's kinetic energy drops to 0, you are stationary for the remainder of the game. This is the one type of damage that must be announced.
Excellent. Now take out the other drone.
In our planning phase for the next turn, we're going to rotate the Viper to be able to better take a shot at the Raider target. As we are planning only straight maneuvers, as indicated by the symbol on our 2 cards with our overboost, we'll rotate the rotation dial to the appropriate heading that we wish to have. We're going to continue to move at medium speed with our overboost. Our kinetic energy is at 5. That'll keep everything the same. Alright, for our first movement step, we're going to reveal our first card. This is our overboost card. We would adjust the kinetic energy, but that's already been done. So we're going to execute our maneuver, placing the card in the appropriate spot, and then we are going to rotate the inner dial to match the position of our control panel, and then place the ship at the end of the overboost as normal. For the first firing step, we do have a shot. We might have a slightly better one on the next maneuver phase. For the second maneuver step, we're going to execute our second maneuver. We're moving at medium speed. This will be the second one. Again, removing the spaceship for a moment. And maintaining the current rotation, place the Viper here. And now we have a straight shot at our Raider target at medium range. For our second firing step, the Viper is going to make a shot at our Raider drone. We have a couple here's our modifier count. Medium range, no modifier. Our Defender is at kinetic energy 0, so that'll be a +1 to our roll. However, our Viper is moving at kinetic energy 5, so that's a -1 to the roll. So net effect is 0. We're looking to get an attack value of 6, and we have a 3. So we are going to actually miss this particular shot, and no damage will occur on the Raider. We're going to have to make another shot in the next turn. For this turn, so that we aren't endlessly drifting, we are going to plot a change direction card, as noted by the symbol here. And then we're going to plan a normal maneuver card to start re-energizing our ship and moving closer to that Raider. We have a kinetic energy of 5, and since we're planning a change direction card, we will have to use a drift template. So we'll wind up using the longer one as our kinetic energy is 5. If your kinetic energy is 1, you're not going to drift. Again, we're staying within our acceleration of 3, allowing ourselves to drop down to speed 2. We will not adjust the rotation dial during the planning phase. We'll do that during the maneuver phase. First movement step of this turn, we've revealed our control panel. We're going to reveal the first maneuver card. Change direction, so we're going to do 2 things. First, we're going to adjust our kinetic energy. Our kinetic energy will be adjusted from 5 to 2, because we have no kinetic energy here, and we have a medium speed maneuver. Now we're going to drift. Replace the drift template lined up with the 0, which is the direction of travel, and then our ship will move as such. Because we're changing direction, we now have to orient the facing of the ship with our arrow. So the 0, which is considered the direction of travel, is now put in that location. Our drift is now complete. We do have a firing opportunity here. Prior to that, we have to make sure we adjust this back to 0 as well. For the firing step, we could make a medium range shot. We do have line of sight. However, we know we're going to get a little bit closer. So let's go to our second movement step. For the second movement step, here's our card. We're moving at the medium speed. We'll place it in line here. Move our Viper. That completes that maneuver. For our fire step, we're now clearly at close range. We're going to take our shot here. Second fire step. So our shot is going to have a couple modifiers. First, we are at close range, so we are going to add 1 to the die roll. Our defender is at kinetic energy 0, so that's another +1. And our attacker is moving with kinetic energy 2, so no modifier. That is a +2 bonus to our die roll. 2 dice, we're looking for a 6 when it's modified. We have a 6, +2 is 8. That is a hit on the Raider. So let's see what kind of damage we do to the Raider. Again, this is normally secret. We have 3 damage done to the Raider, and that's our squirt hit.
Mergen Galactica. Training mission is over. We need to jump to the next system. Roger that, Galactica. Returning to base. You did good, Nugget. Let's head home.
Alright, so that's our basic video for Battlestar Galactica Starship Battles. Covers most of the quick start rules and the complete game rules. There's a few things that I left out, such as overlapping, obstacles. There's a whole bunch of optional rules also for aiming, tailing, and pilot modifiers as well. So in either case, if there's something you're really interested in getting more clarification on, or you want to know more about, leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, we will have more Battlestar Galactica videos coming out soon, so look forward to talking to you in the future. Till then, I'm Ken, and you've been watching Ion Radio.